Hafiz Shafa asked me to share a few words before our main guest. Inshallah, I'll only take a few minutes. And when he asked me, I was sitting there and I felt pressure and I got a bit nervous. And then a thought came to me and I thought, when it comes to disobeying Allah or committing a sin, we're not shy of Allah, we don't hesitate. But when it comes to doing something for the sake of Allah and a good deed, why are we hesitant? You know, that thought came to me, you know. And then a young Sahabi came to mind who had everything, all the things we aspire for in our life. You know, we aspire for riches, clothes, money, cars, whatever we aspire for. This young Sahabi, he had the riches. He was from a rich family of the Quraysh. He had such clothes that when he wore them, it would set the trend for the whole of the Hijaz. Everyone would copy him. You know, his name is Musab Ibn Umair, radiallahu anhu. And he was from a rich family. He was living like a prince, basically. And he had all of this, and then he heard the word, the message of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and he accepted Islam. And he hid this message from his mother, who's very beloved from him, and his family. And then the word got to them and they found out he's turned Muslim. So she locked him up in the house, stopped the wealth, clothes, everything. This was a young Sahabi, probably in his early 20s at the time, you know. And a little while later, the time came and he escaped and he migrated with Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And then one day in Medina, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and the Sahabas radiallahu anhum were walking, and they saw Musab Ibn Umair radiallahu anhu with just one cloth with patches. And the Sahabas radiallahu anhum looked away. And the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when he saw him, he began to cry. He said, this man, when I see this young man, when I saw him in Makkah, he had the best of clothes, he had the softest of hair, he had everything basically. You know, he had such fragrance that before you met him, you would smell his fragrance. If he left a place, you would smell his fragrance 30 minutes later. And he started to cry. And then the Prophet ﷺ said, there will come a day when you will all have to change into two pairs of clothes in one day. So the Sahabas radiallahu anhu asked, will we be better today when we do not even have enough clothes to cover ourselves with? Or will we be better that day when we be wearing two pairs of clothes in one day? And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, you are better today when you do not even have enough clothes to cover yourselves with. You know? And then the time came, I'm going to cut it short, then the time came in the Battle of Uhud. You know, everyone knows the story of the Battle of Uhud. And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam gave this young man a key position, be the flag bearer. You know, that flag bearer position, it affects the morale of the whole army. And during the battle, there come a point when the enemies of Islam, Musab Ibn Umair radiallahu anhu, knew that they're going to try to kill the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So they advanced towards Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and he made a split decision. Let me make the army come towards me and give my life for Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And he started chanting the takbir, holding the flag up. So the army diverted towards him, and they chopped off his right arm, and then he held the flag with his left arm. Then they chopped off his left arm, and he held the flag between his chest, and then they martyred him. And then after the battle, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam asked about specific sahabis, like Hamza radiallahu anhu, Musab Ibn Umair radiallahu anhu. And when they came across his body, they got upset. You know, he had over 70 wounds on his body. You know, and then they wanted to find out what he's got so we can shroud him. And all they found that belonged to him was half a cloth. That when they would cover his face, his feet would show. When they would cover his feet, his face would show. And then Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam covered his feet with grass. This was a young man, even at one point when he went back to Makkah, at a certain point, he was offered all of that again, the riches of this dunya, to live that life, even by his uncle. But he refused. He refused all of this. And if you fast forward to today, look at us. We change how many clothes a day? We're probably them people, you know. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has blessed us with the deen of Islam, free, on our mother's lap. Did we have to sacrifice anything? No, we didn't. We take this deen for granted. And rather we do the opposite. We leave our deen of Islam and we run towards this dunya. I want to be a millionaire. I want a nice car. I want this. But because of their sacrifices, we're sitting today here as Muslims. If it wasn't for their sacrifices, we wouldn't be Muslims today. So let's appreciate our deen and appreciate, because I know we think time is on our hand. We're young, we're strong. Time don't wait for no one. Death can come at any age. I remember I received a call, and me and a few of my friends, brother here, Kashif, was there as well, and we were building a shed. I received a call, and this other Muslim brother said, oh, there's some brothers outside and there's some trouble outside my house, just here at the bottom of Queen's Road. And can you help sort it out, so on and so forth. So we went down, we spoke to some of the brothers, and before it kicked off, we sorted it out. And then as I was leaving, I remember out of the group, I see this one brother, and he looked Muslim. For some reason, I turned around and I approached him and I said, are you Muslim? He said, yeah. I said, how old are you? He said, I'm 16. I said, okay. But I could see there were some non-Muslims around him who kind of pumping him up and had this stance. So I said in front of them, I said, what are you doing with these guys? You're a Muslim, you got guidance. Come back to the masjid, come back on your deen. And he acknowledged it. And then I left. And then about a few days later, I got a phone call. And one brother said, do you remember that brother you was talking to when we left that situation? I said, yeah. Because he'd just been murdered. He got shot in the head at the bottom of Queen's Road. May Allah Ta'ala grant him Jannah and give his family strength. You know, so we think we have time. Did he know that this is probably the last time someone's going to call him to the deen of Islam? Did he know that? If he had known, he would have probably acted different. I didn't even know this is the last chance I'm going to probably get to speak to him. You know, so even right now, even while sitting here, how do you know this ain't your last chance where someone's going to call you towards Islam? Tomorrow never comes. Make intention today, inshallah, to bring change in your lives.